Hi everybody, come aboard. We're here in San Diego, California. I am Dondi Dolan. I'm Donna Eden's daughter. Welcome to Eden Energy Medicine Programs. We are talking about what's possible today with healing. There is so much healing in your hands. Everybody is a natural healer, and we want to talk to you about that. So tell us you're here. Who's out there listening? Give us some little messages. Give us some hearts. Today we have Junya Chu. Junya lives in San Francisco, and she's an Eden Energy Medicine practitioner and teacher. And we have Vicki Goodrich. And Vicki is also an Eden Energy Medicine practitioner and teacher, and she lives in New York City. And we're here in San Diego at an advanced training for teachers. They are becoming some of our advanced teachers. Hi, Angie Lynn from Wisconsin. Thank you for saying hi. You're the first one. Woohoo! I see hearts. Yay! All right. So, as I said, these two beautiful women are here to talk to us about what's possible. Hello, Diana Marie from Ohio and Rebecca Smith from Northern California. Stay with us. I'm going to scooch back to these lovely ladies, and we're going to talk about healing today. And that Eden Energy Medicine is this incredible modality that you can have at your fingertips, and it doesn't take fairies or special magic dust, even though it feels that way, right? It feels very, very magical, but you can heal. You can heal yourselves. You can heal your friends and family, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, you know, we get lots of letters, we get lots of phone calls from people telling us, oh my gosh, I'm doing Eden Energy Medicine and my diabetes is gone, and I healed my broken foot, and I'm not depressed anymore. So we know how powerful it is, and we're going to share how powerful it is with you. So first, I am going to have Vicki here talk, and Vicki is going to share a very personal story that you haven't shared that much, have you? No, and she's going to share it with you today, thousands of you out there from all over the world who are watching this live streaming, and thank you. We see all of you. Thank you for acknowledging us. Vicki is going to tell her personal story and what happened when she found Eden Energy Medicine, and it's really, I think, going to do one of two things. For many of you, it's going to blow your mind. It blew my mind, even though I hear of the miracles every single day, even though the miracles are self-healing. And I think for a lot of you, it's going to allow you to feel like, wow, I am not alone. This woman was where I am, and she went through this journey, and I can too. And it's possible for you. So Vicki, I'm going to let you talk. Junya and I are going to listen, along with all of you out there.
Wow.
And project.
Okay. I'm feeling very moved because I am not the same person I was in 2012. I'm actually more of who I truly am. I want to preface this by saying that if there is anyone out there who's seriously depressed, I'll be quite frank, suicidally depressed, where there is help, there is hope. I have no doubt that I was divinely led to Donna Eden's workshop. It's a whole fun, interesting story of serendipity. But I was led to her workshop, and I experienced a miraculous transformation. I was hit with my first bout of major medical depression when I was a young girl in the 3rd grade. I was 8 years old, and I battled with depression for 40 years before I met Donna. I was 48 when I finally met Donna, and I was hanging on to my life by a thread. Not that I lived my entire life in a state of debilitating depression, but I lived my entire life in what's known as dysthymia, which is like a chronic low-grade depression. And then there would be these bouts that were debilitating. It's not an exaggeration to say that I was hanging on to life by thread. I went to this workshop led by Donna, and on a break I spoke to David, David he promised me that if I committed myself to doing this very specific exercise, which I will show you, my depression will lift greatly. And I've actually never shared this before with Inner Source, but I went home and I lied on my bed. There were 2 bottles of tranquilizers that a psychiatrist had given me. And I spent 3 hours debating whether or not to take them. But then David said, if I do this, and so I just made an agreement to myself that I was going to do this for 21 days. And there is something I do want to share. I actually, I had been to a psychiatrist, I had been on antidepressants, and it did actually save my life, but it got to the point where, I wasn't thriving. It never got me out of the blues. I put on like 30, 40 pounds. So I actually weaned myself off of antidepressants, and I experimented with many healing modalities. Some were helpful, but nothing uplifted me, nothing cured me, nothing created the transformation that I experienced as I did with this very special technique, which helped us. We call it crossing over our energies. So what I want to say was I had a test from the psychiatrist where I could rate my depression. It was at the highest and worst level on day 1. And at the end of 21 days, my depression decreased by 2 significant levels. And I knew that I was onto something. And before that, because there was going to be a year 1 workshop, like starting in 4 weeks when I met Donna, I actually called the woman who was teaching my year 1 class, and I asked her, I said, this work really intrigues me, but I really don't know if I'm capable of enrolling in a year-long workshop because I don't know if I'm capable. I'm like so depressed. And she assured me that this work really helps to uplift people. People thrive. And this is so cliche, but it truly was. Being introduced to Eden Energy Medicine was the best thing that ever happened to me, because having this class to go to gave me something to look forward to. It gave me a goal that I truly aspired to. I was learning interesting information. I was in communing with other people, and I developed skills as a healer that have transformed lives. And I feel like now that I've been uplifted from depression, like I am like awake. I'm like awake for the first time in my life. And I'm plugged into life, and that is such a gift. It's such a gift, and it often brings tears to my eyes. It just brings tears to my eyes when I think the recovery. I'm sorry, I'm getting all tongue-tied because I get so excited. When I get excited, I lose my words, but like the recovery of my health and vitality is a gift that I will always, always cherish. And that's possible for you. So let me show you. There are many techniques in the Eden Energy Medicine toolbox that you can use to help with depression. This one was the most effective for me, and it's a little more time consuming than the others, but I think it's really significant for those of us who are deeply entrenched in depression. And this is how it goes. So you're gonna march with your same hand tapping the same knee. Let's just say 8 times, not too many times. You're gonna stop, you're gonna inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And then you're going to cross over the same number of times. You're going to pause. Okay, we're going to do 3 sets of this. Hang in with me as we do a second set. Now something very special and important happens on the 3rd set. We're going to double the times we cross over. For again, starting with 8, same hand to same knee. Now 16. And I'll just add, I like to do a little hookup. Middle finger of my belly button, second middle finger over the bridge of my nose, and a slight tug. And I relax and breathe. And this is like pressing a reset button. And it's telling my body that, look, you can access energy and healing resources all over. And then you feel fabulous. After like a bit of time, they're cumulative. These exercises are cumulative and will and do change your life. So thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you. So we got some hearts out there. Thank you for sending Vicki the hearts, and I'm so appreciative of you sharing this story. It's not easy to share your personal story, but this is such powerful, powerful work. And now, before it gets too dark here in San Diego, we're going to have Junia tell us 2 stories, and they're really, really interesting. She told us these stories the other day, and I was so intrigued. I hadn't heard these before. I said, Junia, please tell these to the world on our live stream. So go for it, and project.
Okay, hello world. Welcome to our live stream. So my name is Junia, and I'm from San Francisco Bay Area, and today I'm going to share 2 personal stories. So the first story was a few years ago. I was on the airplane and I was about to take off to Taiwan. So that's about a 15 hour flight. I got my favorite pillow, I got my snacks, I even brought tangerines just in case the air cabin got stale. I already knew what movies to browse to watch after my nap. I was getting ready, I was settling in, and then it began. A baby began to cry. And she was sitting 2 rows from me, and she was wailing, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be the start of this 14-hour flight. So I just closed my eyes, I took a deep breath, and I just tried to block it out. And then I want to say about 10 minutes later, I saw a lot of activity. I saw flight attendants come over trying to help, but to no avail. She was having none of it. I started hearing, other passengers fidgeting and making, comments. And I was having this internal, tug of war, like, should I go? Should I not go? But Junia, you know so much, you should at least try to help, but I don't want to make a scene. I don't want to look like a weirdo. And I was like, you know what? Just go and try. That's all you can do. Do your best. So I was like, okay. So I got up, walked to the aisle, I knelt down to the family, and the dad and the mom, they were trying to like shush the baby and soothe her, and she's just crying and crying. And I was like, hey guys, I don't want to, interrupt or anything, but do you guys know traditional Chinese medicine? Well, I know this really powerful technique that can calm the nervous system, and it might be able to soothe the baby. Do you guys know yoga? Well, it's also yogic tradition. They're like, yeah. And I was like, all you have to do is you just put your hand on your head. Do you want to try it? And the dad's like, yes, like giving me baby Simba that's like crying her lungs out. And so I was like, no, you can do it on the baby. And so I was like, you just gently place the palm of your hands on your frontal eminences, and what sits behind it is your prefrontal cortex, and you guys get to learn all of that when you guys come to a workshop. And it'll just activate this calm and peaceful tranquility in your system. And I was like, you guys can do it for yourself. And so the wife was like on herself, on her husband, and daddy was holding it on the baby. And there was this, triad, this trio of neurovascular holding, and I was holding it. I was kneeling, on the floor. And I think it was less than 1 or 2 minutes, just a really brief time. It felt forever because, all these eyeballs, like, what's she doing? Is she gonna, like, whatever she's gonna do, is it gonna work? And so I swear within like 1 or 2 minutes, the baby was like, she started blinking her big eyes, and the rims of her eyes were still, wet. And she was like, huh? Like she didn't even know what she was crying about. And the dad was like, thank you. And I was like, no, thank you. And then I was like, there you are. There's that lovely girl. Everything's gonna be okay. And then I just went back to my seat. The passenger sitting next to me, they're like, and then I just, for the rest of the ride, she never cried. So you learn these techniques that you can use and bring to your daily life. You'd be surprised. And the second story is a more personal story. It has to do with my journey in energy medicine, learning all of this. So when I first started learning this, the first 3 years, my dad, my family, they didn't support me. My dad, and I called him for permission to share this, because I was like, Dad, you're going to be famous, but I think it's not going to look good. Are you okay? And he's like, this is a true story. It's fact. Share it with the world. Everyone has their journey. So thanks, Dad. And my dad was really disappointed in me because he's a very traditional man. He's never gotten a massage in his life because he doesn't like people touching him. He's never gotten acupuncture, herbs, all of that. He doesn't believe in anything. What the doctor says, you follow. It's law. And so when I started learning energy medicine, Eden energy medicine, my dad was really disappointed in me. And he said, you wasted a 4-year university degree on what? This hippy-dippy stuff? And so I was really hurt, but I was just like, but I really, really felt the difference when I learned it. And my mom was going through a lot of sickness and pain, and this was the only thing that got her to sleep a full night's rest. Nothing else worked. We measured before. Daily, she would, how much pain medication she would need to take, it would fill a whole rice bowl. That's her daily medication intake. And so only these techniques would help her feel better. And me being the youngest daughter of the family, you do as much as you can. And so I was like, but I believe in it, Dad. And so he's like, well, you're going to get no support from me or from us. And I said, that's fine. And 3 years later, one day my dad was moving something and a full dresser just fell on his foot. And it shattered bones there and fractured bones there. This big purple black swelling started happening. And he's the type of guy where if he's in pain, he'll never let you know. You'll never hear him cry. You'll never hear him grunt. He's a retired architect and construction worker. One time he stepped on this long nail. It pierced through his heel. He wobbled home, left a trail of blood in the hallway, put a towel between his teeth and just yanked it out. No grunting, no pain, no nothing. And one day he had a tooth pain and he didn't want to waste money to go to the dentist. So he talked to his tooth. He says, if you don't stop hurting, I will take care of you. And so the next day, the tooth was still hurting. He went into his bathroom, closed the door, got one of those like thick, toolbox pliers, just yanked his whole teeth out. It's kind of graphic, guys, so careful out there. And the root even came out with little stems of, stuff. And so never will tell you when he's in pain. But that day, when he hurt his foot, he was grunting. He was going, and so we were all really worried. And so I said, Dad, do you want to go to the hospital? He's like, no hospital, it'll heal. And so it was getting bigger and bigger and uglier. And my brother came home and he's like, we need to go to the emergency department. So we rushed to the emergency department. And on the way, he was going, and I was like, Dad, can I just please help you? And he was like, help me? You mean what you do for your mom, that flowery stuff? So it's funny that I brought a flower today. I didn't even think about it. I was just giving Donna flowers. I was like, well, yeah. I mean, you have nothing to lose. We're going to the hospital. And so he was like, Dad, I'll take that as silent consent. Okay? So I got the wheelchair, we're in the parking lot, and I just started drawing something called the Tibetan energy rings. I just started drawing the figure 8's infinity sign at his pain area. And I never make this guarantee, but I said, Dad, I promise you, within 1 to 2 minutes, the pain, if not half gone, will be all gone. I trust this and believe it. And so he didn't say anything. So we were figure 8ing as we were walking to the emergency department. Doors open, go to the nurse's desk. She pulls out this happy face chart. I don't know if you guys have it, but 0 to 10, 10 being like crying face, if you're in a lot of pain, 0 being I'm fine. And the nurse asked him, what are you on the pain scale? And he looks up at me and says in Mandarin, he's like, "Zimoban, like, what do I do? It doesn't hurt anymore." And I was like, well, Dad, tell the nurse what it was before I did the flowery thing. And he was like, 8. So because he was fine, he was not grimacing, he was not grunting, there was no pain in his face, he was cracking jokes with us. They made us wait outside for 2 hours because he was fine, right? And so after 2 hours, the pain slowly came back. So I slowly rewove the figure eights. I said, that's okay, Dad. You know, energy's always flowing and changing. That's okay. Pain is just a messenger. So you get to learn a healthier relationship with pain, with what your body's telling you. And so I just figure eighted, you know, on the hospital bed, waiting outside. And then when the doctor finally saw the x-rays, like, how are you not in pain? Like, why did we not see you sooner? You know, there's like fractures here and fractures there. And he was like, what did you take? And he was like pointing at me. He's like, you know. So after that, 2 weeks later, my brother, he's a weightlifter. He's like a big buff guy. He lifts a lot of weight. He comes up to me and he's like, oh, you know, Junia, can you do what you do for Mom for me? I think I pulled something. And I was really surprised because for 3 years, I was the butt end of the joke, basically. Like, people didn't take me seriously in my family. No one believed what I was doing other than my mom. And so I was like, please sit here, you know. Yes, like, and so I did something called pain chasing. You're walking along the meridian lines, and you guys will learn all of that. And I was like, I'm so grateful you're here today, but I'm curious, you know, what changed your mind? And he's like, oh, weren't you there at that family meeting that Dad had called together? And I was like, what family meeting? I wasn't invited. He's like, yeah, it was shortly after the emergency situation. Dad called all of us together, and he said, from now on, we're supporting your sister, Junia. And he's like, and one day we might build a clinic for her. He's like, because when I was there in the hospital, I felt no pain. So from now on, we are supporting her. And I was, you know, I never told them that I was hurt, that, you know, they never supported me or believed me. But I wanted to share this story, and I think Dondi and Inner Source wanted me to share this story to give hope and faith. When I was calling my dad about this, my dad said, everyone has their journey. Be patient, be kind, be open. Everyone has their journey. And this is just proof. You can't escape proof. You know, they will feel it when they learn it, when they do it. That's the only thing you can give them. You can give them your best. And I remember a few months after that incident, my dad loves to go hiking. He doesn't like to bring his cell phone. He wants to go, you know, nature free. And he had hiked to a certain point in the mountain, and he had he had like hurt his ankle. And so he told me at that moment, he started figure eighting his ankle. And he says, I couldn't even lean over because I was in so much pain and there was no one to call for help. So he started slowly figure eighting his ankle, and then the figure eight became bigger and bigger. And he's like, and then I walked down the mountain and I was fine. And I was like, good job, Dad. You know, you're smart. You know, way to go to evolve this energy medicine to fit for your daily life. So those are the two stories I wanted to share. Have faith, you know, this is some hard work. And once you connect with it, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. People think it's magic, and it feels magical, but it's very tangible too. You will learn protocols and techniques hands-on. Okay, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Junia. Thank you, Vicki. And I want to emphasize, these are techniques that anybody can learn. And in less than 2 weeks, we are starting all of our classes for our year 1 training. Now, these women are in the advanced teacher training right now, but you two started in year 1.
Yes.
And that's how you began, the year 1 training. It's called Foundations. And I just want to read you some of these classes that are starting. And by the way, you can go to foundations.innersource.net. Inner Source is spelled INNERSOURCE. So foundations.innersource.net. But guess what? There's a class starting in Scotland. Scotland was just named the most beautiful country in the world. I can vouch for that. I just got back from Scotland. There's one starting there on April 4th with Claire Willix. Mary Lichtenstein is starting one in Mexico, not the country, but the little town in New York, Mexico, New York, on April 4th. So if you live in the New York area, you can go to a little village called Mexico. It's from the 1700s, and it even had a place in the abolition of slavery. What a great village to study Eden energy medicine. in. Gail Van Canagan is starting her class on April 5th in Rochester, Minnesota. Gail is one of our nurse practitioners. We have many nurses and doctors who come into our work, and Gail teaches at the Mayo Clinic. Rachel Jacobson is starting in Manchester, England, in the UK. What a great city, because it's so accessible for so many Europeans and people of other countries. She's starting her classes April 11th. Jeffrey White is starting in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Do you live in New Jersey? April 11th. And one of our only male teachers. So if you want to learn from a man, you can take from Jeffrey White. Kelmy Blake. Okay, Kelmy's teaching in an amazing spot. Have you heard of Joshua Tree, California? Joshua Tree is with those really cool trees that look like they came out of a Dr. Seuss book, and it's an amazing desert oasis. That's where Kelmy's property is. She's starting April 11th. These classes are all still open, folks, if you want to learn year one of the Eden Energy Medicine training and some of the techniques that you two shared with us today. Susie Utke is starting in Poway, California. Poway is called the city in the country, and it's in San Diego County. April 4th is Susie's class. Kelly Getz is starting in Naperville, Illinois. These are amazing places all over the world. April 11th, Kelly is starting. And Kelly is one of our teachers who trained with us in both England and the United States, because we had schools in both places. Simone, I hope I'm going to say your last name right. Salowski from Frome, England. That's where she's teaching. So Frome is about 100 miles west of London, near Bath. What a beautiful historic area if you want to go study near Bath. Simone's classes are starting April 25th, and another one from Gail Van Canagan, our nurse practitioner in North Freedom, Wisconsin. Who doesn't want to study in freedom? I want to study in freedom, April 26th. So those are just a few of the classes that are open to you, and you can go to, do you remember the URL? I gave it to you. It is foundations.innersource.net. You don't even need the www, but you can put it in if you want to. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are going to be back tomorrow at 1:45 p.m. Pacific time with two more teachers, more stories, more miracles that you can hear about of people who heal. People maybe like you, maybe who are in pain. Pain can be learned to be managed fairly quickly, and really with simple techniques, and not taking a whole bunch of pills and having to run to the hospital or the doctor. You can manage your pain in an easy way. We're so happy you've been with us. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Junia. And we will see y'all soon. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you for the hearts.